Alrighty. Welcome back. I am back in the studio, back in Texas. 2 weeks I was in Germany. Now I'm back in Texas. Thank you all for being here. If you're new to the show, my name is Anthony Barocas. I'm the chief gearhead here at Restream. And I want to thank everyone for being here. I wanted to, I always say welcome to everyone who's watching, and people are watching around the world because that's the nature of streaming. So I always love to know where people are watching from. So if you haven't already chimed in, feel free to chime in where you are watching from today. We've already had a couple chiming in. Ooh, Kamas Kids Productions. Ooh, it's a new logo, new thing going on there. Got to tell us about that. Good morning from Pico Riviera, California. And Carlos Phoenix also writes in, good morning, sir. And Mike Sabatini says, hello from frozen LaSalle, Illinois. Yeah, up there in the Midwest, it's got to be pretty chilly today. And Kevin Fowler chimes in from Ohio. He's actually watching on Facebook, so yeah, cool on that. I am streaming to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, Facebook again, and YouTube, of course. And I'm doing all of that through Restream. And that is one of the things that I am talking about today is Restream has been introducing a number of updates. If I look distracted, it's because I have 5 versions of me bouncing around on different screens. So it's a little 6 versions of me, and it's a little distracting because I got a lot to show today. But as part of that, I also wanted to let you know that this is not sponsored by Restream. This is also not sponsored by OBSBot. I'll be talking about the OBSBot Meet cameras today. And unfortunately, one of the things I really planned on showing you, the multi-camera in, seems to be having a real issue with the HP Omen. It's also not sponsored by HP. And I keep getting these error messages constantly, just over and over and over again. So it's having issues bringing in multiple cameras. So amazingly enough, I was able to do this when I was in Germany. And now that I'm here in the studio, it's not working on the machine I wanted to demo it on. And I didn't build it till this morning, so bad on me. But not sponsored by OBSBot. But I do have an affiliate account with Restream. So if you do like what you see and you want to try it out, you can go to bit.ly/st-restream for StreamTek and Restream. And then there's a free plan that you can poke around, look at what's there. And then if you decide to try something out, you got 7 days to try one of the bigger plans out. If you are watching this on a computer and want to use your phone, you could use your phone and scan the QR code as well. So that's there, and that is ongoing. So even if you're not watching live, this will still work. So that is something you can check it out. But we're going to be talking about Restream and about bringing multiple cameras in. There's actually a backup way that I might be able to do this. We'll see. But there's a lot to talk about with Restream alone. So, but it's neither sponsored by Restream, they're not paying for this, and OBSBot's not paying for this. This is just another one of the shows that I just do. And if you are watching the show, feel free to throw your questions into the comments because it's not limited to just OBSBot and Restream. So if you have another question you want to throw into the comments, feel free to throw it in. And I will do my best to answer it. If I don't know the answer, I'm just going to tell you I don't know. This is not an AI-generated show. I am not a fake avatar. And I'm not going to make stuff up and present it to you as if it's a legitimate answer like AI does. I'm just going to tell you, I don't know. But I do have 25 years of experience with the direct menu going to YouTube and Facebook, 40 upload, any point going to Restream. Well, if you're going 40 megabits upload, that's pretty darn high. I'm only probably doing about 4 megabits, maybe 5. The point of going to Restream is that the Director Mini, in order to go to 2 destinations, requires 2 upload streams. I am only sending 1 upload stream, and I could go to 6, but I don't have 6 to go to, because I don't do TikTok, and I don't have accounts on the other ones, but I could like go to Bilibili and things like that. We'll talk about that when we get into the Restream destinations. There's lots of destinations that you can go to with a single upstream. Also, there's a studio in the cloud. So if you want to bring in remote guests, another thing that the Director Mini cannot do is bring in remote guests easily. I mean, you can kind of do it with an external computer and or you just do it in the cloud. So I've done several interview shows on the YouTube channel. If you are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitch, do know that let me go to side by side, and we'll go over here to the PC, that there is different playlists that I have over here. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Different playlists I have. I'm clicking on the one that I see as opposed to the one that you're looking at. And then there's producer conversations. And all of these producer conversations were produced in Restream so that I could actually interview these people directly. It's like Zoom, but it's a production studio, as you'll see. It's less about meetings and more about the recordings, including, just updated, 4K local recordings. So if you had a 4K camera, like an OBSBot Meet, where you could send this out, you can then do a 4K local recording on their laptop and then bring it in to your, download the file so that you have a 4K master, which is not something you're going to get in most of the studios. Unable to connect to the room. Interesting. Retry. So yeah, thank you for the question. And that is a great example of the fact that throw the questions in. This is live. You're here. I'm here. And the whole point of being here is that you have the ability to ask these questions and get answers. Again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then I actually do have a bird dog show coming up tomorrow. Not this one, but I do have, if you go to their shows and you go to the next live show, this is the next one, Real Stories, Real Wins. So we're going to be talking about the ways other people have used bird dog products and talking through their process so that you can find things that you could take away from these things and you could learn from what others have done, worked through, and build it into your own setups as well. So that's going to be an interesting show. That is tomorrow morning US time, afternoon and evening EU time. I also still write for Streaming Media Magazine, and you can see some of my recent articles over here. YOLO Box Extreme, Magewell Director Mini, all-in-one production. And then if you need to reach out to me directly, you can go to streamtek.us. That's how you can reach out to me directly. And also, I'll just plug my sister again. My sister has a studio, 17 Seconds Studio. Original artwork here. These are amazing. This one in the middle here is actually three-dimensional. It actually comes out from the canvas. And she's constantly building new things, and I'm helping her with the website. And something I need to work on because there's a lot going on, and she's got some new works and updated photographs. So feel free to check that out at 17secondsstudio.org. So thank you for that. And any other questions come in? He says, this is our regular broadcast news channel, the other live stream YouTube channel. Okay, there we go. Okay, good question. I need a switcher, but only for recording, not ISO, just multiple camera live to one file recorder, multi-camera setup. Lots of them do that. Go to the YouTube page, and it depends on how many cameras you need too, and what type of cameras those are going to be. Because if you are doing like a bunch of PTZ cameras and you want to be able to control the positions of those cameras and move them around and easily configure them or stuff like that, you could go with something like the Director Mini or the Director One, where you've got those NDI PTZ controls baked into the interface. You don't have to do anything special. When you connect to the camera, you've got full control of the camera too. That's really cool. If you don't have PTZ cameras, but you've got operated cameras, then you can use like a regular video mixer like an Duet. GoStream Duet has, you can do a 4-channel or an 8-channel, and they have both HDMI and SDI. So if you have a mixture of cameras, that's something you can do, and it will record to, you can record, if you only have 4, the Duet that has 4 inputs has the ability to record the program. The 8-channel actually has the ability to do ISO recording as well. Even if you don't want that, you don't have to turn that on. But you can then record a master. But if it depends upon how many cameras you have to connect or you need to connect and whether you're controlling them or not. Because a switcher, a switcher like the Duet is not going to control the cameras. It's just a switcher. Whereas an all-in-one device like a Director Mini or a Director One, those devices do it all. They handle everything. Bowles Pro, can you do 2 YouTube channels and 2 Facebook at the same time with Restream? I'm doing 2 Facebooks right now with Restream. And because this question has come up a couple times, let me go right to my laptop, and you can do a side-by-side. This laptop is in another studio. I have multiple studios going at the same time. So I'm producing the show that you're watching in Restream Studio so that I can bring the comments in from all of those sources. That's the other cool thing, is I'm bringing all of those comments in. So if somebody wants to comment on Facebook, like this one, he is watching from Ohio, this is a comment from Facebook. If somebody wants to comment from YouTube, I'm pulling both of those in. And I have this nice animated title on and off. I wish it would animate off on its own, but it doesn't, not yet. And that is one of the things. So this computer right here that you're watching, this is the laptop I wanted to set everything up on. But because you're asking about, I'm going to exit this. Cancel. No, I just want to exit. I'm going to exit the studio. And because you're asking about destinations, we're going to go to channels down here. And you can see these are the channels I have set up already. So you can be logged into a bunch of things and then pick and choose what you want attached to a particular studio. So when I produce the Bird Dog shows, I produce them in a studio that just goes to their media. When I produce the StreamTek shows, I produce them in a StreamTek studio that goes to those destinations, making it very easy to keep things organized. This show, that show, the other show, whatever. So if you run a studio and you've got like 12 different podcasts coming in, boom, 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 right down the line, super easy. And you can add channels. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Let me go full screen on this. YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitch, Kick, Instagram, X, TikTok, Rumble, Trovo. Those are destinations that you can send custom SRT, and you can send it wherever you want to. xCloud, Dive, Telegram, Amazon Live, if you do that. Substack, Scoop, Naver, Steam, Daily Motion. Let's keep going. Nemo TV. I don't know what that one is. FC2, Breakers, Bilibili, which is big in China, I believe. Nano Live, Coco, whatever. MLG, I can't read it. And more down here. So this is the APIs that are built in here that I don't have to like do the RTMP code and the stream key to go to these destinations. I'm just clicking on the YouTube module, logging in, and boom, I'm connected. So when you say, can I go to this? This is the breadth of what the destinations that are built in. Yes, you can still like come down to the manual RTMP here and go to Wowza, Vimeo, and anything else, or the client's destination. The client wants to handle all of that. They just want you to produce it. Okay, I'm going to produce it here, and I'm going to RTMP it back out to where you want me to go. Easy as that. So that, I hope, answers the question with regards to where things are going. And as you can see, I've got, I have it going to my personal profile and the StreamTek page. So this way, I'm actually outputting to both of these Facebooks at the same time when I do this show. So I'm actually going to 2 Facebooks at the same time. No restriction there. How's you doing? I'm doing great. John, thank you for asking. Ireland is in the house right now. I need a switcher to record multi-camera events only for recording and deliver it to the client. I don't need ISO function switcher. Which switcher would you recommend? Again, it comes down to your needs. Your needs determine the product that works. You know, if you just have 4 HDMIs, you can get a Blackmagic switcher. They work great and they do the job. If you have a combination of HDMI and SDI and you want to bring them together, or you have SDI cameras, but you're going to want to bring in a laptop for slides, or the client's going to want to like connect at the podium and you want to bring in slides. Oh, then you need a mixture. So you could either get the Duet, which can do SDI or HDMI for any of the inputs, or you could get a little converter to go convert it down to HDMI and then go to the Blackmagic switcher. You know, there's lots of different ways, and there's lots of good switchers out there. Again, you can go to my channel if you haven't already had the opportunity to check out the Osee switchers. You can go to my channel and just come over here to the little magnifying glass and type in Osee. Well, not this keyboard, another keyboard. Too many computers, OSE. And then you type that in there. And here is some reels that I've made. 16 inputs on the Osee Duet 8. Here's the Duet with SDI. That's the 4-channel. I call it the Duet 5 because it's technically a 5-channel. Even though it has 4 physical inputs, you have a 5th input that can be video playback. It can be NDI. It can be a USB camera or a webcam. It can be many different things. So it's technically 5 selectable sources. So that's really cool. So you can go check those out, watch these videos, and get some background on these. I am very big on NDI. I love video going around a network using NDI, and there's lots of shows about NDI. And Blackmagic doesn't do NDI, so I've not done as much with Blackmagic. Both of the Osee, the Duet 8 and the Duet not 8, they don't call it a Duet 5, I did. They can accept NDI. So if you have a camera on the network that has NDI, it could be a PTZ camera, you can then access those directly in each of these as well. The Osee Duet 8 can actually access 4 NDI cameras at the same time. So that's really cool. Let's come over here. Wolfgang says, I only use Restream when I have a weak internet connection on site and I still need to do multi-streaming. It works very well in that situation. Best regards. Yes, I mean that having it there as a backup is also very useful as well. But the fact that they're putting so much capability into the built-in studio is something that I wanted to highlight today. And I believe that covers all of the questions so far. So I'm just going to put a little star on this one, and I am going to be able to keep going. So what I wanted to do was talk about the Restream Studio, and they've had a lot of updates coming up. So this is right here. This is if I go home, this is my home page. So you can actually see it's showing me the show that I'm actually producing in the studio. So as the producer, I can see what shows are going on, what the current thing is, and you see it's live. That is a live feed right there. So if I go back to a full shot, well, and then go back to here, you'll see in a couple seconds that will go to a full shot. Come on. Oh, I didn't get the timing just right. There it is, full shot, back to me. So, and then these are the other studios. And that right there is the studio I'm going to use for Bird Dog later this week. And then over here, you've got a history of shows that I've produced. Look at all those cool shows. And then you can use, it's got an AI generator for clips. And I will fully admit, if you follow my LinkedIn page, I'm not too hip on AI. And I have tried to leverage the AI summation thing. It's like, go through the whole video that I just made, give me 5 clips, verticals, do the whole little caption thing, and I've watched them, and A, they're not really good pieces to highlight. B, you did a bad job highlighting them. C, the text that you put on the bottom is often wrong. Not helpful. So I haven't used it. And then storage, you can set things to play back in the cloud. You put the videos in the cloud and play back. So when I do the Bird Dog show, the pre-show countdown comes from the cloud. I don't play it locally. I play it from the cloud. And then the post-show, that's all folks at the end, that plays in the cloud too. And that's a set scene. And actually, you know what? It would actually be kind of nice to go through. We're going to build a little bit of show. I showed you the channels, and then you've got analytics, which tells you how good the show did, how many people commented, is it more or less than last time, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really handy. And then also with storage, you have your uploads, but then, as somebody was asking, I just need to record all the shows that you do get recorded so that you could download them. So, you're talking about producing a show that you want to be able to have record. You've got a local record that's happening in the cloud that you're doing, not from YouTube, not from anywhere else. It's happening right there. And then you can download it at whatever settings you've got your studio set at. So if your studio is set at 1080, that's the record you're going to get. If your studio is set at 720, that's what you're going to get. And then let me also point out down here in the right corner, need help. They've got 24/7 help, and I've actually found their help really good. They've added an AI bot, which again, I hate. But once you get past the AI bot, when you talk to an actual person, they are actually very knowledgeable, very fast, and able to fix things. So very cool on that. It's just that, I guess, because as the platform grows, they needed to add a layer of AI to handle these simple questions. Where can I find? Oh, it's right over here, to handle those questions and let the humans answer the tougher questions, the more complex, nuanced questions where the bot's not able to figure out even what you're asking. Because, again, this is worldwide. People are asking worldwide, so they have to filter it to a person that knows your language. So think of that as well. Another question comes in. Have to figure out which mouse I need to move. How does it handle titles and descriptions across different platforms? I cannot speak to all platforms. I'm just going to preface that already. I cannot speak to all platforms. I go to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. And in those platforms, if you go to that title and description, that's all created in Restream when I'm building the new thing. So when you go to build it, come over here and, again, wrong mouse. And I come to my home, and this is my studio. Let's build a studio. I didn't want to actually open it. Let's see if I can't confuse it. There we go. Let's build a studio. Let me come over here to the right, and then I can update the title. And let's build a studio. Here's my description. I can upload a thumbnail. I don't have anything on here because this is not the machine that I build these shows on. No. Pictures. Do I have a picture? Oh, I have screenshots. Okay, so I could do this. There we go. Open. So there you go. I've got that. I can put that in there. That's my thumbnail. I can replace that. I can put the description here. I can put the title in here. And this is what I do for every show is I build it right here. And then I say update. And then when I say I'm going to send this to a show or I'm going to build this, I'm going to schedule this. So now that I've got this studio is built with all my scenes, and then I've got the thumbnail and the description and everything, I say I'm going to schedule it. Oh, okay, so it's going to schedule a new event, new title, new description. When? Okay, I want this one to happen on Friday at whatever time, and there's my thumbnail, and or I can replace it with the new thumbnail for this particular show. So for recurring events, you're scheduling the next one. So it's going to have a new description and title. And then you say next, and then you say, where do you want it to go? Oh, I want it to go to Twitch. I want it to go to LinkedIn. I want it to go to the YouTube channel. I want it to go to the Facebook channel and my personal Facebook channel. And this is the thing. And I say schedule. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to create a bunch of extra stuff that I have to go and clean up later. But that is literally as simple as it is. And the account I have allows me to do 5. I have 5 of 5 active. Okay. You can have bigger accounts that allow you to go to more destinations. It's just that for the account that I have, That's it. I cannot toggle right here. It says toggle on, all, on, or off. And then you can come down here and add channels, which would then go to that other screen that we saw before. And you can see right here, this is a draft. This is not scheduled. This one is scheduled. This one has started. So I'm getting status right here. You can see my destinations, the last edits. And if you have any more questions about scheduling or setting these up, I can show you right there. Oh, another question came in. In the past, you did a DM update feature reviews. We'll be covering the latest updates release. Yes. The challenge is the director series, because there's 2 of them. They do like several, update. And there's not enough in a one little update to do a whole show on. But at the same time, after a couple updates, then it's sort of like, okay, you've amassed enough changes that it really deserves like an update show. Same with YOLObox. The YOLObox Pro has had an update release. So that is likely going to be next week's show, is the YOLObox Pro update. And we might also talk about the Extreme and the Ultra as well. But thank you for the question. So let us go back to our side-by-side. So here in the studio, you'll see these yellow alerts come up the top. This is the problem I'm having with this laptop. Again, I didn't have this when I had when I was doing a similar show in Germany with my Nook. There it is again. Apparently the cameras in this laptop keep disconnecting and reconnecting, and it doesn't want to connect to a second camera because it says it's in use. And this browser is the only thing running. So I don't know what's going on with this laptop. So worked in Germany. So that's what I thought would happen here. I did not know that this laptop would be having these issues till this morning. But anyway, so this is my studio. Over here on the left, you have scenes. This is a great addition. It didn't have this till like last year. Scenes allow me to set up my welcome. So here's my welcome, and then I can say, oh, on the welcome, what I want to do is I want to go to my video storage, and I'm going to do the open, and that's going to be, I'm going to take me out. Okay, we're going to pause that because I don't want to hear it. Go away. I'm going to take me out. I'm going to go to me. And then over here on me, I am not in all scenes. I am going to be here, not in the welcome. So therefore, this is going to be full screen. So pre-show, I can come over here and you can name the scenes. I'm going to rename this pre-show. And pre-show doesn't have me, so I can be talking, I can be getting ready and everything, and it's playing this video. Boom. Then when the video ends, switch automatically to the next scene. Do that for me. Boom, come down here. And then of course, like, oh, is it going to do that every time I switch to it? Yes, because that's what it's supposed to do. It will cycle it back to the beginning and play it through. So if you make a mistake and accidentally click on a different scene and go back, it's going to jump back to the beginning. You can, at the top, if there weren't alerts there, you can scoot it along and move it anywhere you need to, so that if something starts late and you're doing a show and somebody says, listen, we need to go live now. Okay, scoot that forward, and there you go. Again, I apologize for the alerts. I guess I could disconnect all the extra cameras, but I'm gonna be accessing them. See, it says restarted default OBSBot Meet 2 microphone because I've got 3 connected. Device unexpectedly stopped, which is very interesting because when I open them in the OBSBot app, they work fine. So I don't think the cameras unexpectedly stopped. There's some driver issue going on with the browser. Next, we go into my main camera. This is the OBSBot Meet right in front of me, right here. And if you come down here and go into the OBSBot Center, they renamed it. It's now the OBSBot Center is not just for controlling the one camera. It will control multiple cameras. So you can see up here, you have the ability to control multiple cameras, and it just found 2 cameras. I don't know which one it's not finding. There it goes, 3. It found all 3 cameras. This app has no problem finding all 3 cameras. Go figure. But anyway, here is where I can do a video preview. So you can see that I have an overhead camera right up there. That's my camera 1. Camera 2 is devices occupied. Okay, that's probably the one that's in here. And then Meet 3, it should come up as this one over here. So I have a third one over here. And that's the one that I held up. This is their Mint camera. Whoa. So this is their little Mint camera. And I have it sitting over there. So you can bring, these cameras don't have problems. The computer has issues. And you can switch between these cameras. Oh, it kept the names, mint, white, and gray. So I have the 3 different colors. If you go back 2 weeks, I did a show on the OBSBot Meet cameras. I'm not really going to delve into them too deeply today. And with these cameras, I can go into, let's just say the white one, which doesn't want to, oh, I can't use the video because the video is occupied. But I can go into the image settings and I can adjust the exposure, which looks a little dark to me. So I can go in here and boom, I can still adjust the cameras in the OBSBot app while Restream is using them, or anything else, whether you're using vMix or OBS or something like that, StreamYard, Riverside, or whatever. You can use, look at this, I have to figure out which screen I'm pointing with. You can use this app to go in there and say, you know what, I want it a little bit brighter. Auto exposure is now on. And I have it minus 0.7 because I find that these tend to be a little overexposed. I get that, but it's a little overexposed even though it's supposed to be reading the face. And the other thing I find is when you leave them on auto white, they tend to be a little warm. Although this one looks okay right now. You can come down here. Once you get that, you can adjust the contrast, saturation, and sharpness of the video signal after it's been captured. So again, this part up here is before capture on the OBSBot, and then down here is after capture. So that is very different than using like a webcam control where you say, oh, I need it, it's washed out, and you say, you know, less bright. Well, you're just turning the brightness of the already overexposed camera down. You're not telling the camera itself to expose less. So that's something that's up here, and I find that very, very useful. And then I can go to my overhead camera, which I can then turn on, to my side camera. Let's turn that video preview on again. And you can see this one, I haven't adjusted any of the settings down here, and auto exposure. Actually, this auto exposure looks really good. This camera. And you can see the autofocus is doing pretty good as well. If you don't want the autofocus, you can turn the autofocus off once it's focused where you want it. And I find these little cameras would be great for podcasts. Sorry, let me turn that off. It's a little distracting. These little cameras would be great for podcasts because you could have like 3 of these little cameras in the center. One pointed at one person, one pointed at another person, one pointed at this person. And because they actually come in 3 colors, I mean, honestly, they should be like Rode at this point. Give me a dozen colors. And you can have everybody have their own little dedicated camera, and then one way back there that's sort of like looking at the whole room. Dude. I mean, these are tiny, discreet, and after a couple minutes, nobody's going to be looking at them. Nobody's going to care that they're there because they're so small. And I have it sitting over there on a magnet stand. They come with, and I can do this overhead. They come with a little stand that can go on top of your monitor. And I thought the camera was magnetic, but it's not. The stand is magnetic. So it will hold on, but This won't stick to something that's metal. You can't just like, oh, I'm going to put it on this bracket. I'm going to put it on this, you know, microphone arm or something like that. It doesn't work because, you know, this is not magnetic at all. The front of it is, and you can put, they give you this little metal lens cap, which is pretty cool. And it actually stays on there with little magnets around the lens, but the bottom is not magnetic. And I was kind of disappointed in that. You got the 1/4-20 on the bottom. You got a USB-C on the back, 2 microphones on the front, and you've got the little logo and a little LED. And that LED is actually on, letting me know. You can control all of that in the app. They also come with a not very long USB-C to C cable and a C to A adapter. One of the things that I always recommend changing is going into this and tell the devices not to go to sleep, because they like to go to sleep a lot. But down here, the more auto sleep, turn it off. Sleep background. So it'll actually send an image when it turns off the sensor. It'll just send an image so that you know the camera's still there. It's still connected. It's just sleeping. And then turn off auto framing, turn off zoom. These are auto features that I find tend to the gesture control. I talk with my hands a lot. If you've ever watched the show before, I talk with my hands a lot, and I find these cameras, I'll be talking, I'll be doing something, they're zooming, they're starting auto tracking, they're doing all kinds. Listen, if you want to just set the shot and not have the camera start doing all kinds of crazy stuff, turn off all the auto settings. Otherwise, the cameras are going to start helping you. A very key thing. Oh, we had a couple answers coming in for the thing. Are the cameras going through a hub or a dock? No, they're all directly into my laptop. They're all directly coming in here. I have one camera here, I have one camera here, and one camera here. I did try to bring one camera in this one, but this is a lightning port or a Thunderbolt. And I thought Thunderbolt was also USB-C. But the camera never even showed up when I plugged it in here. But that is, you know, something that's very important, and thanks for bringing that up. I would actually recommend that if you're going to be bringing in a lot of USBs, you don't know if you're going to overwhelm a bus in the laptop, which could potentially be happening because I'm trying to bring 3 of them in, although the app sees them fine. You could offset by using a Thunderbolt dock so that you have extra USB-Cs over here that are coming in on the Thunderbolt bus, separate from the USB bus. So you're dividing the data across different things. So as you can see, I've got HDMI, USB, Ethernet, USB, Thunderbolt, DisplayPort, headphones. I got lots of ports on here, and I'm using almost all of them, as video producers are wont to do. Flip the USB to C cable. Worked for me last week. Flip it in the back of the camera. I can absolutely try that. So we'll take it out and we'll plug it back in. And this one's working. So I'll take the overhead out and see if I can get it to come back in. Get it to come back in. There we go. Freaking the computer out is what I'm doing. All right. So I'm in my studio. This is my studio. That's my OBSBot in front of me. So my OBSBot is different than my studio camera. So just so you see the difference, I'm not using the same camera in both locations. I actually have a completely separate camera for this studio here. And then if I wanted to share a screen or something like that, add a remote guest. Ooh, let's see if I could do that. Yes, I do have a remote guest. It says I have a remote guest. It says I'm backstage. I am not backstage. I'm going to refresh this. So you can bring in remote guests. I believe up to 10. Again, it depends on your plan, but you can bring in a lot of remote guests. And one of the key things that Restream just added is the ability to assign placeholders. And this is a big thing because like vMix, like OBS, like production tools, being able to assign a placeholder and know where that person is going to go ahead of time. You can build it and then they are always going to be in that spot. So like, here's my remote guest coming in from another laptop I have on the table. And I want to have my remote guest and I want to set up this scene with the remote guest. So I can then add the remote guest. Here's it is. Do I want them in all scenes? No, I don't want them in pre-show. I just want them in the demo. All right, so here we go in the demo. There's my remote guest. It's some famous person. And now, and ignore that, that's like a little netbook that's laying around. So we're not going to care about the frame rate or anything from that at all. It's also on Wi-Fi. I just needed something to connect. I could have used my phone. But anyway, so this is the remote guest, but I don't like this layout. It's very boring. So now up here, you can customize the layout. Where's my layout? Customize. And now I can actually bring these in a little bit, give them little borders, keep the names on or off and things like that. And now I've got a little bit, it's got a little bit more of a look to it. Okay. And that's my scene. But down here, you've got, you know, oh, I can change these different sorts of layouts, but for a two-person scene like this, this is what I would want. Now, I can take this greeting. Let's call this, we're going to greet the guest. Greeting. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to duplicate this scene. Duplicate. And now with the greeting, what I want to do is I want to talk about slides. So I'm going to call this slides. And, you know, again, you can do all of this in vMix, OBS, and, you know, the director and things like that. There's nothing new about these tools. But the fact that you're able to do these without purchasing a piece of hardware like that is really cool. Plus the ability to have the remote guests integrated in here. It's like an all-in-one production device, except you're not faced with $1,000, you know, up to $2,000 outlay for the like a YOLO Box Extreme. YOLO Box Extreme is a great tool. It's going to bring in 8 cameras. This is not going to bring in 8 cameras. You know, it has other advantages, and it's physical, and you could do just like a local recording without any internet at all. Awesome. This is when you need to incorporate local and remote. I find it to be the best thing. So I'm going to go to my slides scene. Now here, I don't know why there's a third thing, so I'm going to remove this, and then I'm going to add, we're going to add a local video presentation. So we're going to add a presentation. We're going to use the presentation from last week. There we go. Now we got a presentation. So we got 2 people talking about a presentation. Again, not too keen on this layout. So I am going to put these little borders on here. Do I want to, and I want to put the audience I'm talking to reads left to right. So I want to have the presentation over there. And so I can rearrange this stuff. And now that scene is going to stay there. When I go back to just the greeting, there we go. There's my greeting. When I go back to the pre-show, so I go pre-show, you know, greeting, hey everybody, and we got something really important to talk with you about today. Boom. I'm like switching a show. And then, you know what? I want to go back to me. We're going to duplicate this again. I'm going to put this out of order. I'm going to go into greeting 2. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete the guest. Remove, and then I'm going to add, do I have any options in QR codes? Here we go. We're going to add this to this scene where I'm going to talk about, and you know what? I don't want the inset here. I'm going to take that out. And now I do want the little Restream thing, and we're going to leave that as promo. We're going to call this promo. And Now I've got the promo. And then you know what? I'm going to duplicate this again. And I'm just going to call it, no, I don't want to edit the scene name. I want to duplicate, duplicate, boom. And then I'm going to just call this me. And go over here and come down to me. And then, I don't know why it keeps adding another participant. Remove. And then I'm going to take off the QR code, remove that. So I've got just me. I've got just the promo. And come back to me. So I'm fading it in and out by switching between scenes. There's not a way to add, you know, you could have a whole lot of graphics and overlays and things like that. And there's a whole other media. That's the chat. Here it is, the graphics. There's a whole other area of media that you can have overlays and stuff like that are here. I can go to just my graphics. So if I wanted to have just my overlay, there's my overlay. But it's not really designed for me to be able to move it around like a lower third. You know, you'd have to like pre-place it within a 1920 by 1080 overlay. But I can have that as a scene. So if I go back to promo, that's going to go away and this is going to be here. So I can have these scenes set up for different things. I can even have, I believe they have animated GIFs. So let's go back to this one with the StreamTek and go back to all the graphics. And so there, animated. You can have animated graphics. Oh, it's so sad. It's raining. Do they have snow? Snow. Oh, that's sparkle. That's pretty cool. So you can have animated overlays that are going on. So if you wanted to have a bug in the corner with sponsors, you can do that. You know? And that is something that I really appreciate and I use on a regular basis. In front of me, I'm looking at a half dozen scenes in my show. And that enables me to be able to put this up and go back out, and there's the sparkle is still there. We're going to take that off. It's a little annoying after time. And then we want to go back to the slides. You can jump out of order. Now, the one thing they haven't done yet that I'm really hoping they do is allow custom keystrokes for these scenes right here and allow us to assign those to like a Stream Deck. And that way I can just have a little keypad device in front of me and go from, you know, the greeting directly to the promo, back to me, back to talking, you know, go in any order I want using just keystrokes and not mousing around. Because right now it's these scenes are limited to mousing around, except you can with keystrokes, you can go next, you can go next, you can go next. So technically you can build a show if you know, okay, and then from here, I'm going to want to go to the promo, and then from the promo back to me, and then from me back to take this and put another one of those down here, and you just keep going next, 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 next. That can get a little cumbersome. So I look forward to them making this. One thing I didn't mention is with the pre-show, one of the things they added was you can add a scene and you can add a countdown to a scene. And you know, originally it was stuck here in the middle, but they've added the ability to just grab this and put it wherever you want. And that that is something that I have asked them for many times, you know, as big as you want, as small as you want. And the font, you know, they give you all these different font, you know, the fonts that are probably built into your computer. Color, and the music, you can attach music to it. And then when the countdown ends, the countdown scene will you can have it set to automatically go into your next scene. So if you don't have a countdown scene, you know, countdown built or whatever, you can have live show, countdown, and an overlay graphic as a scene with the built-in countdown. And because it knows what the countdown is doing, the countdown will be your pre-show and automatically go to the next scene once the countdown ends, and you can attach music to it as well. So that is something that I really do appreciate. And when I was doing shows for YOLO Live, they had the same thing. The countdown lets you attach music to it. And so you can use the countdown, attach the music to it, and when the countdown was done, so was the music. And because that countdown scene does not have me in it, I don't have to worry about my mic, my audio going out the same time as the countdown music is going out. Then when it segues to the next scene with me in it, my mic is automatically on. I don't have to do anything. And the more you can automate, the more you can build into your setup so that it's all, this needs to happen with that piece of music, and then this is going to go to that, and this, and all I have to do is stand there with 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming. You know, this is really cool. And that is one of the things that I really like about Restream, is that ability to have that automation, to pre-build those scenes and everything. And I'm going to mention again, this is not a paid ad for Restream, but I do have an affiliate connection with them, so that if you are interested in trying it out, if you like what you see, you can use bit.ly/st-restream for StreamTek-Restream, and you can try out Restream with the affiliate link. There's a discount with that. And then if you wanted to, you could use the QR code. You can scan it with your phone and sign up that way as well. There is a free plan that you can go in, try out. It's very limited. It stays with the Restream logo, or this, I probably keeps the Restream logo in the corner. I don't have a free plan. I haven't had a free plan for years. I pay for it. And I use it every week, twice a week this week. And I think that goes to say that I find the product to be useful, and especially in terms of handling and aggregating the comments from multiple platforms into one show. I produce the show that I produce on the table with other hardware. You know, I've got this is what I'm showing you, but over to the side here, I've got a Director Mini. And you know, I've talked about this before. I produce this on a Director Mini. So when I, bring up my title, this title is created in the Director Mini, which has animated titles. Very cool. Very nice. And I can say, hey, listen, if you want to, you can, find me Stream Technology on YouTube. And then you could also find me Stream Technology on Facebook. And I'm doing that with this $20 remote. And I have a video on that. This allows me to switch between the scenes. So if you want to see, camera one, and then side by side is side by side, camera one. And that is all being switched through the Director Mini, which is a great production tool. But I'm not using it for broadcast into 5 different platforms. I'm not using the Director to handle comments from 5 different platforms, because it doesn't really do that very well. Whereas Restream lets me have all of the comments up on the screen in front of me on the right-hand side. So if I'm in a show over here on the right, I then go over here to the chat, and then, oh, that's very interesting. Somebody's actually commented. There it is. Oh, I'm on the, let's go to promo. Let's go to just me. And then right here, you just tap on it. It comes in, it builds. And then this is all built according to how you want it to look. Like when I do my show, things are in purple. And when I do this show, let's just say this show needs to be orange. So we're going to come up here into the graphics. Up here, you can create something. We're going to say new folder, and we're going to call it orange. And then you bring in all the graphics that you need for your particular show. And part of that is, well, what color, whoop, where did it go? Why does it keep changing? Stay here. Edit theme. Ah! That's interesting. I got to sneak up on it, I guess? No. Interesting. When I roll over the primary color, it switches to the people. Very interesting. Maybe if I just click on this, and I'll go get orange this way. I think that's going to be a bug. But now up at the top here, you can see I can have my graphic look like this, or I can, that's that one, or I can have it be attached to the corner, or I can have this little bubble, this kind of bubble, which is kind of cute, or this new one that they've got. It's called Air, which is just text flying around, which I don't feel to be very useful in case the background isn't, somebody's wearing a white blouse and they're in front of white text. That's not going to work very well. So having a graphic that puts a background behind the text, I find to be the best. And of course, you can change the font that it's being used. So that's part of the theme that you're using. And in terms of that theme, you have your logo in the corner, your graphics, your video clips, whatever your backgrounds are going to be. And down here, you can turn off the default graphics and just show just the content that you've loaded for your show. So if I switch back over to the StreamTek and I get rid of the defaults, you can see here are my backgrounds. Here's a video clip. There's my logo. There's my button, a little bug and everything. And come up here to edit theme. Well, no, it's not orange. And I'm not going to be able to sample purple because you're not going to let me. I will let them know about that. And thankfully, the Restream team is fairly responsive. I'm really curious how somebody was able to comment on something that I did not oh, look, it's up there. I guess once I attached those, somebody was able to go in there and comment on it. Very cool. Somebody is digging in and going after the content I'm creating. Kudos to you. Had a couple of comments come in. Let's see, we can take that one out. Hello from Corfu, Greece. Good to see you from Greece. And the capability of all these buttons is very impressive. Yes, it is. And hey, this is my commenter in the other show. It is very, very capable. It's interesting how much capability is being built into the cloud. And because it's a cloud app, they can tweak things on the back end and all of a sudden there's new capabilities. And like one of the things that I had done just recently was over here on the side, there was another tab, and that tab for, which, graphics set you wanted to use is now up here at the top. So when I click on graphics now, I can choose within the graphics, it's here, it's not sitting over here on the side. So they're able to move things around and nest things in where they make the most sense. And then of course you got the chat. You can put in some notes, like these are the things I want to make sure I cover during the show. You can have your QR codes. So that's a QR code that I created. Apparently it's available across all my shows, which is interesting. I would think that these would be available within particular shows. And there's your captions in lower thirds. So you can sit here and say, hey, do you have any questions? Zoop. Put them in the comments. And that way you're able to handle all of those things over here on the right, just like I'm able to do in front of me on the bigger screen. I'm able to bring out, comments and see a dozen different comments at the same time, which is very challenging to do on the Director or some of these all-in-one devices. The YOLObox Extreme with its 11-inch screen, it's very high resolution and has a large comment area, that does very well. It also can multicast to 3 destinations. That's very great as well. It will bring comments in from those 3 destinations, as long as those 3 destinations are one YouTube, one Facebook, one Twitch. That's kind of limiting. And then if you want to manually RTMP to something else, manual RTMP does not bring back the comments. So that is why I really do appreciate the ability of Restream to be able to, aggregate, take all of these API connections and pull in all of those comments and show them to me on the side of the screen so that I'm able to, look and pick and choose and say hello to our new guest who's watching from Greece. That is one of the advantages. One of the things they're also looking to do is they're also looking to be able to deliver vertical and horizontal at the same time. And that's going to be amazing. One of the things I did actually set up here is if you come over here, they have a change log. And this is something I really wish more companies would do, is just have all the different updates and changes available in a easily viewable space. It's like, oh, somebody says this is now able to do this. Can I do that? You can go look. and it's the first of the month, so they're gonna test this, the air raid sirens because it's noon here in Texas. So if you hear that siren, that's what that is. You can stream to WIP channels, HLS channels, the new guest view. Oh, I wanted to show that as well. We can actually go over here. This is the view that the guest is seeing, because I have the laptop here. You can see down the bottom, there is the remote guest is backstage, and that's because I'm not in that scene. So let me go back into that scene that has the guest. There we go, greeting. And now you can see that on the bottom right there, hello, that actually did update to be active. Down here, this became active. There's a chat, so the guest can actually see, if I click on that, I believe the guest can actually see. I'm probably really taxing this tiny little netbook. Yeah, there it goes. It's slowly going to bring it up. The guest can see the chat, and that has proven very useful for shows I do with other clients, in that they can see viewer comments and bring them into the show natively. I don't have to keep like, oh, a viewer asks. They can say, oh, I see a viewer has asked. They can do that themselves and bring that into the show. I'm gonna try to do that again. It started to move, and then because I had clicked it multiple times, it just put it away. So I'm gonna click it once and I'm gonna let it go. There it goes. So now they can see the chat, and the chat will probably populate over time. One thing that you also see down here, this is a private chat. So this is a chat that here I am in my studio. Down here is the private chat. So I can come over here and say, hey, move the bottle. So somebody has a big water bottle and they put it in front of them and the logo is showing, and we don't want to have that there. I can tell them on their screen, hey, move the bottle. So let's switch to their camera or their screen. And then when I say, hey, move the bottle, and I say enter, it's going to pop up on their screen. Hey, move the bottle. So you see this thing right here? It just popped up on their screen. A little animation going on here. It actually just showed the whole thing right on the screen without them having to actually turn it on. So if you've ever been in Zoom and somebody's sending messages, and all it does is it puts a little dot on the chat icon, and people have no idea there's stuff going on because they don't look down at the little chat. They're just looking at themselves on the screen, or they're looking at the camera, like, like I'm looking like this so that I can make sure that it looks like I'm engaging with you. I'm not looking down at the little chat bubble. Having that pop up on the screen like that makes it very handy to say, hey, this is you need to pay attention to this. And then they also get the controls to turn off their mic, which I did because I didn't want audio looping. They could do a share presentation, which is something that's very challenging to do with vMix and other tools, to be able to have both the person talking and them sharing slides. That's really cool. They can over here, guess what? They can tap on this and they can share a screen. They can add an extra camera. Oh, I wonder. I'm not going to ask this laptop to do anything else. It's already at 100%. I can tell by how slow everything is happening on it. But yeah, you can go in there, and if they have a computer with a GPU, they can do background replacement and things like that. So let me get off of that. I am going to go back to my screen here and close this. I'm going to just go just to me, so I'm not looking at that. But then down here, like we were talking about, my video, there's my OBSBot Meet 2 camera. There's my audio settings. I can choose where my microphone comes from. So if I have an external USB microphone, I can use that instead. Default speaker, or I can send it to headphone jack. Echo cancellation, noise suppression, you can turn those off. You could also do high resolution audio if you're doing something with music. Auto gain control, you can turn it off so it stays where you set it, so quiet stuff is quiet. Recordings, you can go in here to adjust your recordings. Background settings, yes, I understand, turn it on anyway. So here I have a blue screen. So let's try this. Let's turn on blue background. Solid background works best, and then we'll try to turn this one. Boom, not the best. So we'll show advanced options, and we'll adjust that. There we go. So you can actually do the tweaking. Look, I use my blue screen to do a key in this app. So many times when I do things in certain apps, they're like, vMix. Oh, I'm a vMix call. Can I do a virtual background? No, you can't. You can in this. So it's like the merging of, Zoom and Teams and things like that. But at the same time, it gives the producer real production capability that you're not going to get other way. Shortcuts, this goes through all the different shortcuts. Like here you go, next new scene. And this is what I was talking about right here. Next scene and previous scene are the only ways to change scenes. You can go up one, you can go down one. It's not as easy as if each of these scenes had an individual icon. And then with your profile, you can put like a little button, put a little graphic there or a logo, so that if your camera's off, then at least your logo shows up, and then it's got this little glowy thing that seems to be very handy so that people see who's talking, but they don't want to be on camera. And then you've got some general settings. So those are the settings. These are the scenes. There's the capabilities down here. These are some of the auto layouts, but again, customize. You can see over here on the right, it's let me use my other finger. Down over here, you've got your horizontal and vertical. They talk about going to be doing horizontal and vertical soon. I'm really curious if it's just a center cut or how that works out. It'll be very interesting. And down here's your private chat. Over here, you got all of these things. You've got some music. They've got some built-in AI generated music. Over here, again, I'm not a big fan of AI anything yet. So if that hasn't been made clear, so they've got some AI generated music, which I actually use to test to make sure my headphones are working when I do a show in Restream, which I will be doing tomorrow morning with Bird Dog. I test my headphones because, of course, your microphone doesn't cycle back to you. So when you go into the Restream studio and say, okay, I can see my camera and everything. I don't know if I can't hear my own audio. So I turn on the music to make sure, okay, the laptop is playing content back to me, so that when my guest comes in, I know I'm going to be able to hear everything else in the studio except for me. I think it would be nice if they had like Zoom and audio check. So let me talk into my microphone and then play it back to me. That doesn't exist yet. Hey, it might be there next month. You never know. Down here is your themes. That's what I was talking about. And again, it still has this. If I roll over the color, it wants to throw that other graphic in there. Interesting. And then again, the help at the bottom. Across the top, across the top here, again, I was saying there's the music, here's the themes. And again, if I roll over the color, it throws that up there. There's the help that I showed before that comes up, and you can ask questions middle of the show. I've actually, had them tweak something for me or help me. I cannot find the thing. It's over here. Thanks. And then up here, you can activate just record. So you can be in the studio, and instead of going live, you could say just record this one without going live. Up here, your edit channels. I actually did have a show where I said start the show, and for whatever reason, YouTube didn't start. I don't particularly know why, but I went back into here and I turned it off. I turned it back on, and then it initiated the YouTube. So it was very interesting that I was able to manually cycle a channel for a live show in my pre-show. And that's really why I have a longer pre-show, is to go through and check everything and make those comments about, hey, let me have you make comments in the show. That is why I have that pre-show is there. And over here, if I'm in a studio like this studio over here that I'm building, there's even a schedule button right here that I can go in here and say, okay, this is exactly where I want it to be. Let me schedule it. I don't have to go back out to the home screen. And then I can go live. And then, of course, there's a drop down here, record only, even though that's now a button all by itself. So there's a little bit of redundancy. And that's pretty much the studio that, like I says, it's something that I use every week. Plus, as you've seen, whether I'm here in the US or in Germany, I don't bring this entire table full of gear. I don't bring my lights and my studio camera. I don't bring the director. I don't bring the black magic that feeds into the director, so that when I do these side by sides, I don't, this is being generated by the Blackmagic switcher that's going into the director that's going into Restream, that's going out to you. I don't bring all of that. I just use Restream. And it makes it easier to be able to do multi-camera, which I actually did do with Restream, and not have to worry about carting all that gear with me. And if that's something that you would like to check out, like I've mentioned a couple times before, this is not a sponsored show. They are not paying me to do the show on the new studio upgrades. But if you did want to check it out, I do have an affiliate link with them that you can go to bit.ly/restream, st-restream, and try it out with the affiliate link. It gives you a little bit off. I make 5 cents, whatever. I haven't made anything yet. And then over here, you can, you point your phone at the QR code, sign up. There is a free plan to like poke around a little bit in there. Check it out. No commitment. And then if it looks like, hey, this looks like something we should investigate a little bit more, you can sign up for one of the plans, and you have 7 days to like really check it out, even do a full show with it, before, you're committed. And that is something I find really valuable. And there was one more thing I wanted to show with regards to Restream. I'm trying to remember what it was because there's been a lot to cover. And again, if you have any questions, throw them into the comments. I will do my best to answer them. Let's go back. Oh, right, the changelog. That was it. So the new guest view is something that I wanted to show side by side. And that was, they moved all the content to the bottom bar. It makes it, so they can see things closer and everything. This was going to be very interesting. This thing is announced, stream via dual output from OBS. It was also announced that it's going to be available in Restream Studio, I guess, eventually. This, I think, would be awesome to be able to do horizontal and vertical at the same time. I actually do get asked for that. And normally when I do my StreamTek show, I do send it to the StreamTek channel on Instagram, but I use a separate device to do that, and it's cumbersome. To be able to do that right from here would be pretty awesome. Record locally in the studio. So that is what I was talking about, where you can, like Riverside, now it's here as of November 6th, you can now have a recording happening on the remote guest's computer. So if there's internet issues or things like that, it's being recorded there, all the frames, because there's no problem between the USB camera that they have on their laptop and their laptop. It's being recorded right there. All the frames, all the audio, no drop frames, no glitches, no hesitations, no blockiness. And then that's going to be dragged into your files that will be available after the show. So you get consistent quality, easy for guests, and it allows you to, do your edit with quality content. This is what I was talking about. You can prepare your stream with placeholders. So now your remote guests, you can actually set them up so that they are going to be in a placeholder, and that placeholder is in scene 1, scene 8, and scene 10, and it's in different places. Then when that guest connects, you set them up with placeholder 1, they populate all of those scenes that you already created. It's just like vMix, where your caller has a specific call number, and any scene that you've built with them automatically populates with them when they connect. That is awesome. It's not the same as vMix. You still have to make that first connection, and placeholder 1 is the first person you connect, and then the second person you connect, and the third person you connect, and the fourth person you connect. They can be connected in other scenes and not be live now. So, there's still a process. It doesn't automatically populate like vMix, but I think that's going to be a fantastic feature. The one thing I did already recommend to them is first, that when we're building these scenes and you've got multiple placeholders, you don't really know which is which, like color code them. Let me give custom names. Bob is here, Jack's here, Mary is here. And then when I go to the next scene, okay, now I'm going to move them around and put Jack Jack is going to be really big and Mary and Bob are going to be small. And that way I know with these placeholders what's going on because I've named them. I've given them my own designation. Right now it doesn't have that, but hey, this is a new feature as of November 5th, and maybe as of December 15th, then you can now name them. You never know. That's the thing. One of the things I like about Restream is that these things are being put in and then they can be tweaked once they're in there. They changed the theme, so now it's gray. It used to be colored. Big deal. Move and resize countdowns. Yay! This is something I've bugged them about. Like I says, for a while, longer than I thought it would take, but they did actually do it. So now you can take that countdown, you can scoot it off into the corner, which is where I put my countdowns, as opposed to smack dab in the middle. I don't know who thought that was the best idea. Doesn't matter anymore, because now you can move and resize the countdowns. Yay! Assign participants to scenes. And this is something that I kind of glossed over, but for me, this has been essential in creating those scenes. In that, let's go back to the laptop. In my show, oh, wrong mouse, my bad. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 scenes, right? And now if I go over to me, you can see I'm only in 4 scenes, and I can click on that and say which of those 4 scenes I am in. I can take myself out of slides. I can put myself back in the slides. Promo, me, countdown, or all scenes. So this way I can have different people sprinkled throughout different scenes. And it stays in the show. That stays. So when I duplicate it for the next show, and I duplicate it for the next show, and I duplicate it for the next show, all of that stuff stays. And now the guest over here, they are in 2 scenes. They are only in the greeting, where we're greeting people together, and they're in the slides. They're not in promo. They're not there with me, and they're not in the countdown, or they're not in the pre-show. So that way you're able to have a bunch of people connected, and they're only going to be in the scenes that you set them to be in. That is just a fantastic feature that wasn't there originally, and it was kind of problematic. Like, how can I have 2 people connected but still do the pre-show? Because if I activate them, they go on top of the pre-show in the corner, but I don't want it. That was the solution, and it works, and it works great. So that was as of October 13th. Fantastic. Refresh your captions with the new air theme. That's the theme that has no background on it, which okay, maybe. Very dependent upon what the background is, what they're wearing, what content you're putting on screen. I probably wouldn't use it ever. Restream AI clips. And like I says, I've tried it. Not been very useful for me yet. Morris Live Productions. Mike from Miami, Florida. Great show. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And hit the like button before you're on your way out. Yes, everyone, please hit the like button. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. And as I mentioned, I'm talking about Restream today. I'm talking about using the OBSBot meets, and that was kind of covered earlier in the show, kind of focused on Restream right now. But if you are interested more in the meet cameras, definitely go to the StreamTek channel on YouTube, and over here you will find, if you go to the live shows, just 2 weeks ago, right here, I did a show on the OBSBot Meet cameras, and I talked about them. That was in Germany. So that was a German show, a show that I produced in Germany, and that was all about the Meet 2 cameras. So I talked a lot more about the cameras themselves. And there's actually been a couple updates to the Meet cameras and the Meet software since that show. So in the 3 weeks that have passed, that stuff has been updated. But for anything that you are interested in to see if I have done coverage on it, you just have to go to the Stream Technology channel on YouTube and hit that little magnifying glass, and then you can type in whatever you might be interested in, like wireless mics, and then all the different shows that I've done on wireless mics. Or if you wanted to find out information, where'd my keyboard go? About NDI. You mentioned NDI. I want to find out more about this NDI. Well, here you go. I talk about SDI, NDI, HDMI, more NDI, your basic intro that will get you started. And then there's an all-in on NDI where I talk about the entire breadth of solutions from cameras to switching to communications and PTZ and all of that. So you can really get up to speed watching a few videos just on NDI. Go to the StreamTek channel on YouTube and just type in whatever you might be interested in. Topic, technology, explanations, or a product. Feel free to type it in right there, and that will get you going. Comment came in. Indy2174 says, I got 3 questions on Osee 8 ISO. Just purchased and question why I am not seeing super source. I only see multi-source. Question 2, where is the green and blue color to use chroma? Watch the videos I did on the Osee. There is an hour and 45-minute long where I go through all the different settings. And again, it's been updated since I made that because all these products are always in a constant state of flux. If you go to the StreamTek YouTube channel and you typed in, oh, wrong keyboard, Osee, you come down. That's the firmware update. Here is the complete overview for the Osee Duet 8. That's the video you want. And that one walks you through and it tells you where that chroma key setting is, tells you where you can do the multi-views, and it tells you how you access cameras coming in via SRT. That is a camera coming in via RTMP, a camera coming in via NDI, SDI, and HDMI. How many acronyms can I use? And you can bring in all of these cameras, and I tell you, what those limitations are. There's one caveat with that is that complete overview shows, those shows were done before the big update that allowed you to use all the hardware inputs at the same time. So there's a little bit of a caveat that this one is sort of like an add-on to the previous one, where before it was 4 hardware inputs and then 4 soft inputs, NDIs or USBs or things like that. Then they did this big input, so then you could do all your hardware or, all 8 hardware inputs, and you can have different modes and interleave and things like that. So that became, that's a very big update that you can check out there. Question 3 is about MP1. I don't know what MP1 is. Still picture not filling the entire window, but instead it's half screen. I don't know what MP1. I don't know what MP1 is. But I'm sure when you comment it, oh yes, of course. But it's just not popping into my head off the top of my head. So I apologize. Continuing on with this. The AI clips, like I've said, I've tried them. Now, again, this was back in October. I tried them for a couple weeks. I didn't find them useful. And AI, as you've seen on every media that you probably see, more and more stuff is coming out. It's getting better and better. The video is getting better and better. The transcription is getting better and better. So it might, be worthwhile for me to try this again, because now maybe it's going to do a better job finding topics and do a better job condensing those topics into like a couple short sentences, and then do a better job at transcribing the texts and get it right. Because, I still see people share reels with text that the text isn't actually what the person said. They just let the AI system do it, and it's wrong. And that's the thing that bugs me, is that AI gets so much wrong, and people are like, they don't even check. They don't care. I care, which is why I haven't used it at all. Show or hide names per scene. Yes, this is actually pretty cool. I didn't mention this, that in the studio, you can toggle names on and off with a keystroke, so you can have it assigned to a button. And then you can also, wrong mouse, you can also be in a scene like this one, and I have my name here on, and then I can, with a keystroke, I can turn it off, and then I can turn it on. And then if I'm in that guest one, the guest one has the names on, And then I can either have another scene with the names off, or I can just toggle that with a keystroke. So if I go to the overhead, all I'm doing is I'm tapping Shift N for names. So names on, names off. That's as simple as it is. But like I said, if you wanted to have it like, you could have the scene with the names on at first and then duplicate this and have the scene with the names off. So you would just cycle through. Here's my pre-show, here we are, here's our names, and then a moment later the names go off. So that would be a great way to do that in Restream so that the names go on and off fairly easily. Your second camera now sticks to the scene. So this is where I was talking about multiple cameras. This is back in September. Unfortunately, my laptop, interesting. Oh, that's really weird. Because I'm keying this. Very interesting that since, just go to me. And let me turn off my chroma key. Turn that off. Since I've unplugged and replugged the USB per viewer recommendation, those errors have not been coming up. So let's try it. We are going to add an extra camera. Let's try this one. Unfortunately, the Meet software lets you name the Meet camera unable to access the camera. Let's try extra camera. That one. No, I'm not getting any cameras. For whatever reason, it's unable to access the camera. Make sure it's not connected and not used by another application. It kind of is being controlled by another application, but I don't have the image on for those other cameras. Here, this one is the gray, the white, and the mint. You can see that up in the far corner up there. I've named them in this software. So if I click on, I can, adjust each one individually. Like this one has gone very blue. So that's the white camera. And what I can do is come into here, go to my image, turn off the auto white balance because there we go, much better. And I can increase the brightness a little bit because it looks dark. So I can increase the exposure. There we go. And that way I can adjust that camera via the software that I'm bringing into the Restream. And that gives me, as producer, I can control all of those cameras. And as you can see with the software in the corner there, up to 4 cameras. I can just tap between those 4 different cameras. One last trick with ObsBot that I didn't necessarily talk about previously is, I have the video preview, output. Where's my output? Output. So I can turn on, I don't want ISO recording. I want output to be program. And then I can start the virtual camera. Yes. Got it? Failed to start virtual camera. Please close all programs that may be using the original camera video stream and try again. Interesting. Okay, so it wants to grab control of the camera that I'm using here. So you know what? I'm going to create, let's just go into this scene that does not have me, release me, and then maybe I can start the virtual camera. Okay, virtual camera's working. So now if I go into here and I add a camera, ObsBot virtual camera, supposedly what it would do is it's going to, I should be in, let's put me in, I can't be in countdown. So I'm going to create a new scene. Add scene. New scene, and then I'm going to add the ObsBot virtual camera. Turn it on. And then I should be able to switch between my overhead, the white camera, interesting, that one's not working, and Mint, which is the one off to the side. There it is. So you can use the OBSBot virtual camera to switch between 4 cameras going into Restream. Again, showing you that it's not the cameras that are having a problem. Like the browser is having a problem, or maybe it's the fact that I have both the OBSBot Center and the browser working at the same time, that they're both not able to grab the cameras and allow me to bring in multiple cameras into the studio. The one thing I could also try is extra camera and select. I've reached the limit of 2 extra cameras. I don't have them. They're not there. Whatever. But this is actually very cool in that unable to access the camera. If I can't access the camera, then it's let me do things. But here you can see my overhead. This is the laptop I'm using. This is the remote guest. This is the keyboard that I can type in YouTube. This is the Director Mini over here. And this is all coming from an OBSBot Meet that's right overhead, right here. And autofocus. And one of the really cool things with this as an overhead camera is it's really small, it's really light. And because I am working on this camera, I can actually zoom in. Because remember, I'm starting with a 4K camera. And I'm able to like easily resize what I'm showing here. And oh my goodness, see, it sees a lot of black surfaces on here, so it's trying to iris up a whole lot. So I can come in here to the exposure, turn off auto exposure, and manually bring down the ISO so dark things are dark. Oh, not that way. Why does it keep going up? There we go. 600, ISO of 600. So now darker things, this dark laptop is dark and my hands are not overexposed. And it's also not going to keep changing if I bring something in here that's bright and dark. You know, even if I bring in something that's white, you can say, oh, you know what, that's still, actually, that's pretty good. You can actually make out the white camera, maybe down a little bit more. There you go. So now you can make out the white camera versus the white background. It's not overexposed, and my darks are still pretty good. So the OBSBot camera, being able to control it over here in the manual settings, which are over there, it makes it very easy to switch between these two things. And then I can come over here and say, hey, I'm talking to the green camera over here. And if I had a fourth one, I could connect a fourth camera. This is OBSBot Center. This doesn't just work with, let me just, I don't know why that one, the white one's not connecting. White one is here. I'm not going to do that. The OBSBot Center works with all OBSBot cameras. I am just using it with Meet here. But if you had a Tail Air, a Tail 2, the little PTZ, the tiny heads, you know, that are going to track you, you can control all of that in the OBSBot software and have a mix and match your cameras and be able to say, oh, okay, turn tracking on in the PTZ head. So if you've got somebody up, you know, in the front of a room and you want to have them go into your software, you know, I'm going to zoom in a little bit to get the nice shot. I'm going to say, turn the tracking on. And as they walked around, it's going to track them and everything. That is really cool. And it's all available in the OBSBot Center. It used to be just for webcams. They've broadened it out, and now it controls a whole host of things, including makeup and beautifying and things like that that I'm not going to get into. But if you're interested in that sort of thing, it's right over here. It's the little face part, and it says beauty. So when you click on it, then you get all these things where you can pick your camera. Let's go to this camera, and I'm over here. There you go. And then you can retouch and, you know, go to the man. You can adjust the smoothness, the clarity. You can add makeup. You can adjust the body so that if somebody walking back and forth, you can make them thinner. You can add makeup. I kid you not. I actually had this working when I was setting up for the ObsBot Meet show, but then once I was doing the show, something had happened with the multiple cameras that it didn't continue to work. But there was a moment where I had eyeshadow and everything on when I was setting up for the show. Very interesting. You see, I have version 2.0. Yes, I just buy it and set it up. Hey, if you are Osee has a fantastic user group. Osee has a fantastic user group with several dedicated members who are there to help. And there's a frequently asked questions, a FAQ, that is available that will walk you through and answer 99.5% of everybody's questions are answered in the FAQ. It takes a little while to read. It's very detailed, but the nice thing is it's also organized. So it's like, oh, I just need to know green screen. You go to, you download the FAQ, or you go to the FAQ website and you type in green screen. You're on the green screen. Then you just read that section. So you can choose to learn just what you need to know right now. And then when you need to know the other thing, you go look at the other thing, and then you'll be able to get that answer too. The FAQ there is fantastic. It's continuously updated. So that way, when new features are added, the firmware's adjusted, menus removed and rearranged, and different settings or thing, boom, that's how you can do it. Go check that out. I think at this point I have covered everything I am going to be able to cover with regards to both the ObsBots and the Restream Studio. As always, I thank everyone for being here. I very much enjoy making these shows. I'm happy to be back here in Texas in my own studio. Makes doing these things a little easier. I always love know where people are watching from. Thank you very much for chiming in, letting me know where you're watching from around the world. And thank you also to everyone who threw questions in, because your questions help drive the show, because if you're almost always not the only one with that question. And so throwing those questions in really does help. And lastly, as I've mentioned before, I've got an affiliate thing going on with Restream. I use it for these shows. I use it for my bird dog shows. And if you want to try it out, use my link. Go to bit.ly/st-restream, and that will give you a little bit off. I will make 50 cents, I don't know, whatever. Or you could use the little QR code over here and scan it with your phone, and that will take you where you can set up an account. Once you set up an account, there is a free plan. You can go in there and you don't have to commit money just in the door. You can go check it out. There's a free plan. Let me see what the studio looks like. Let me see what this. Let me see about uploading. Let me see about creating a thing. Let me check it out. Let me see it sharing slides, sharing a screen, maybe second camera, doing custom layouts and remote guest, and try all these things out. And then if you say, okay, this is actually really cool. I want to do this for real. I want to go up to 1080. I want to have more recordings. I want to have more capability. I want to have more guests. I want to have more. Then you can subscribe to a paid plan. That's all it takes. So you feel free to use my affiliate link if you found the show useful and it is something you want to try out. As always, my name is Anthony Brooks. I'm the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. And I always love doing these shows for you. And as always, thanks for watching.